One Last Ride is back with our second game of the group stage with a battle against Jirachi. We lost last time out to Grandmaster D-Ray, a game that definitely felt like it got away from us when it didn't need to. This battle is going to be a very difficult test as well, as Jirachi has some of the best offensive threats in Scarlet and Violet Draft League. Between Roaring Moon, Terapagos, and Terra Ogerpon Wellspring, there won't be much room for error in this high stakes game. If you're excited for today's video, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We are still working towards our goal of 1,000 subscribers, and every subscription helps a ton towards hitting that goal. With the matchup now on screen, we see Jirachi has one of the best teams in the tournament from top to bottom. Starting with Terapagos, he has one of the premier hazard removers and win conditions in the game, with the Terra Shell ability also providing extra protection against our own setup threats. Ogerpon Wellspring is where our team is really going to struggle in this battle, however, with our only water resist being less than optimal options in Roaring Moon and Manaphy, both of which Jirachi can easily have super effective coverage for. That isn't even considering the Gliscor, which with a Sword Sand set can put our team into very difficult positions early on. Given all this, we end up with a really difficult matchup, one that is going to require some creative team building and lures to get the win. Great Tusk is the first Pokemon on the team sheet again, with Booster Energy set designed to deal as much damage as possible with an attack boost. The combination of Headlong Rush, Knockoff, and Ice Spinner is very difficult for Jirachi to switch into, and if we can get a speed boost before Jirachi can bring in a Pokemon like Ogerpon Wellspring with our Rapid Spin, we have a good chance to break through the vast majority of his team, setting up for some of our weakness fallacy sets coming up. Roaring Moon was a Pokemon I really struggled to fit on this build, but I knew it was going to be important to provide some sort of check for the Ogerpon Wellspring while also being a reasonable lead. Choice Scarf provided the best options for this, as it helped guarantee at least a speed tie against other Choice Scarf Roaring Moon sets. The moveset is fairly standard, with Crunch being the main difference here to provide a more consistent damage in situations where we can't remove an item, like Booster Energy on Iron Crown. Where our plan to win really comes into action is our Cosmic Power Jirachi set, looking to take advantage of turns against Roaring Moon to get a weakness policy boost. Despite Drain Punch being our move of choice to get recovery against the Roaring Moon, we go with a speed boosting nature, sacrificing our attack stat as 44 EV investment will guarantee the kill after 2 hits of Rocky Helmet, something we can reasonably expect to get out of a later member of our team. This speed is going to be really important for setting up on Pokemon like the Terapagos, with Calm Mind and Sword Power being the other 2 moves that give us an alternate method of setting up and trying to win the game. Enamorous is Terra Grass this game, giving us a consistent resist to Ogerpon Wellspring. The set is also weakness policy, looking to activate off the Ogerpon Wellspring U-turn, boosting the speed with agility and breaking through as much of Jirachi's team as possible. While this is asking for a lot to happen, the set can still provide plenty of value elsewhere, with Moonblast and Earth Power being extremely difficult in combination to switch into for Jirachi, and Healing Wish allowing us to bring our Roaring Moon back to full HP to clean the game, or have another chance at glory with our Calm Mind Jirachi. With Ogerpon Wellspring being such a problem in this matchup, one of our best ways to deal with it is likely going to be using a Resist Berry lure. Rundaberry Manaphy is the best option we have for this, getting free Tail Glow turns against a Pokemon like Gliscor. This does make this team very vulnerable to Encore, which Jirachi is likely to have plenty of access to with the Comfey and the Ogerpon we are trying to bait. However, the risk is definitely worth the reward here, as hitting Terra Ogerpon Wellspring with a +3 Energy Ball will make the game much easier, the big stress to our defensive Pokemon being removed from the game with one move. Swalot is the final Pokemon on the team, looking to get some key Rocky Helmet damage on a Pokemon like Ogerpon Wellspring or Roaring Moon. Endure allows us to guarantee at least 3 opportunities to get Rocky Helmet damage, which could be crucial if we need to get chip on both the Ogerpon Wellspring and Roaring Moon. Toxic is a good way to control these Pokemon as well, making their setup sets much less relevant. The key to this set though is Ice Beam, which makes it so Gliscor is not able to get free turns against our defensive Poison type or switch in without second thought. And that is our team for the second battle of pools of One Last Ride against Jirachi. As always, shout out to Diet Tight, Kaz, OG Albana, Tony, and Willow Rush for all the prep and mock support this week. Let's get right into battle number 2 and see if we can give ourselves a chance at brackets. Alright, it's time for the battle against Jirachi. He has left the Gliscor and the Swalot at home, I think were the 2. Gliscor is the main one here in this battle to be left home. That is big for us. That was a very, very problematic Pokemon, potentially offensively. Our team did not have a lot of options to deal with that. His Terra is Terra Ground Comfey, and then obviously the Water Ogerpon. We are leading off with Roaring Moon because it is the best lead against the largest range of leads that he has. Pretty much every lead that he has, this leads well against. Against Roaring Moon, you have to make a decision with whether you want to U-turn turn 1 or not, and I made the decision to U-turn on turn 1. So that's the decision I made before we get into this battle. I'm going to stick to it here because that play is above a 50% chance to work. And he's just going to leave with Rotom. Okay, perfect. So he has to switch out here. That's going to be obvious. If he stays in, he's Scarfed, which I guess is technically good information to know. But we learn a little bit of information. So let's U-turn off here. As I said, this turn 1 is pretty consistently the easiest turn of the game because it's the one turn I have the most control over. And we get to see Comfey come out very, very early here. I could have like maybe got aggressive and Iron-Headed there or knocked or do something, but we see Rocky Helmet. So this was a set that we tested against a good amount in mocks and stuff. A lot of different ways I can take this. I think my best approach, especially where it's ground now, if I force it to Terra ground, I'm gonna go into my Jirachi, get an early sequence up with Jirachi. It could force a Terra. I can set up here on this Pokemon. It can't break my policy technically. But if I force the Terra on this and not the Ogerpon, that makes this matchup just a little bit easier, especially for my Great Tusk. I've got a lot of different offensive things that can go right this game. So let's just Cosmic Power. He's going to withdraw. Okay, I'd like to see Iron Crown here because this gives me another Cosmic Power. And he's just going to go right into Rotom. Okay, perfect. Now I have to assume a trick is coming out here, right? Like that is the most obvious play. Here we saw Rocky Helmet on the Comfey. Yeah, I was going to say it. Did we see Rocky Helmet? Now, Trick is the most obvious thing, right? We don't want to just like automatically get like trolled by a Trick here if we don't have to. The problem is I don't necessarily have the best thing to go into after that, like into this thing. There's no way you're... I honestly think my best play is to go Roaring Moon. I can preserve the HP on this thing, and I think he's going to Trick. And if he Tricks, it's Choice Scarf or Choice Scarf. And I'll take that trade every day. If it's Ghost Move or Electro Move, he obviously resists it. He's just going to Willow. What? That's annoying. Wow, that's... I mean, I guess Willow makes sense. It provides a lot of, like, potential burn and stuff. But yeah, that obviously was not exactly the first thing I was thinking. I was thinking, like, if you're coming in on... Especially when you see Cosmic Power, right? Your first thought... I mean, burn, I guess, helps a little bit, but wasn't exactly my first thought. So, I guess it's a little bit annoying, though this thing offensively, it actually doesn't, like, technically matter too much to the outcome of this game, necessarily. Obviously, he's still probably going to fear this to a certain degree and respect it. But now that I know this set a little bit, that's, I guess, not obvious. That obviously could have gone a little bit better, we'll say. But now that he knows that he can go Rotom safely, we know what he is, then we're fine with that. So this Roaring Moon, not going to be the most effective Pokemon the rest of the battle. But alas, I think we'll still be fine. I have a few different options here now that I know that this set is not necessarily going to be the best. I can go into something like the Swalot. This also forces Terra here in this situation if my opponent wants to go for it. I could go also into Manaphy, though I need to save the Manaphy, the utility here. Though I like this because I can knock. I can knock, and if Jirachi wants to set up... This is Rocky Helmet defensive, so I think I'm okay to go into this. This is not going to be a setup primarily, which is the main concern to have. And if we knock and he goes Iron Crown, then we remove what I think will be an Assault Vest, or we get rid of the Rocky Helmet on this. I think either are beneficial for me. Yeah, we see a U-turn, and that's also going to give Rocky Helmet damage onto the Comfey, which wears this thing down little by little. Important that we do that as well to enable some Great Tusk turns, because it looks like Great Tusk is going to have to really ball out this battle. Jirachi's protecting a potential Culver very, very well. But obviously we're going to have to chip. That looks like probably our easiest path to win here. But now the game plan becomes remove Rotom as quickly as possible. Now that we see the Comfey is kind of not a bot set, but like not a super threatening. And in comes Iron Crown. So we expect the Salt Vest. If this is weakness policy, this becomes a little scarier. But that looks to be a Salt Vest. Perfect. Okay. So we at least got that figured out. And we got an AV down. The only problem I have with this set in particular, I'm gonna go into Jirachi here. I don't mind losing HP on this Jirachi necessarily. But I know that it's not set up now, which would have been like pretty nice for this. And we just got the Volt Switch. Yeah, I mean, I could have gone to Great Tusk there in theory, but I don't think that's necessarily I don't think that's a realistic play. What I'd really like to see here from Jirachi is him to go into Roaring Moon. My Drain Punch calcs that I need require a little bit of Rocky Helmet, require 2 Rocky Helmet hits in this battle to get off. So I'd like to see that. He does go Ogre Pawn instead, selecting, I assume, to go for the Terra Water in attack. The problem is now is I don't have a good switch into this. I can go into... I have a lot of random setup that can, in theory, get there at some point. I really like the Enamorous set as well at a certain point. I do have Healing Wish to keep in mind with Roaring Moon, though I don't think Roaring Moon is going to be the biggest of helps in this battle. I think I probably just sack the Roaring Moon and go into my defensive Enamorous after. I don't like losing the Scarfer like this. Obviously it could be better, but I don't have necessarily a better option, and it's burned, right? I want to use my Healing Wish on something else realistically in this battle, and I got to get a free turn somewhere. But now we see the Force Terra, or not the Force Terra, the Terra come out on the Ogre Pawn, which was kind of always happening, right? Like this was always going to be the Terra Captain. Ground did have a lot of utility, but with it being Rocky Helmet U-turn, CM would have been where that utility comes from, right? So good to see that here. And then we see the Ivy Cudgel come out. I mean, this will obviously kill, especially after burn. There's no... Oh, it might not actually. Okay. All right. Well, we do preserve this as a potential... I was going to say we do preserve this as a potential way to get our thing in, but I think we just want to take a little bit of chip here and move about our day, right? Yeah, with the Terra... Yeah, I think I'll just crunch. This will do a nice, like, 30%. Which is fine, and that allows me to then go into my... Oh, he's just going to switch. Okay, so I do lose this then. I guess I could have U-turned there. I didn't think that was like super necessary. I get a little bit more chip on this Comfey though. Okay, well, I say that kind of in jest, of course, because that's literally 0 damage. That's good to know. Okay. Where do I want to go from here? I have a lot of different options. It's funny, I can go into this and get my weakness policy off, right? Like I can go into my Enamorous, Terra Grass, and Agility, get weakness policy going, and start putting a lot of pressure on my opponent's team. He doesn't have a lot that can deal with that. Like if I go into the Enamorous versus the Ogre Pawn Wellspring calcs, the +2 calcs actually aren't great for that just yet. So I think what I'll do here is I'll go into my... I'm going to Jirachi. I think the U-turn is obviously coming out here. But if I can Calm Mind... If I can go for the Calm Mind and the Store Power, if I get this as a Choice Scarf, I have to find a way to break through this team. I think it's Adamant Booster attack on Tusk. I'm going to Calm Mind here, I think. It reveals another set that I have, which is a little bit annoying, but he just goes for the Encore. Okay, that's fine. So essentially, I guess I reveal more information than I needed to, but now we expect the U-turn to come out, and I can just go into... I can just go back into my, what's it called, thing here. Swell up, put a little bit more Rocky Helmet on that Pokemon. It might just synth up here, but no, U-turn comes out perfect. So this thing is now super, super chipped, which is good. This means that I can attack it with Ice Spinner with my Great Tusk. So this, I mean, this is free. I mean, this is free crown, but I don't know if that necessarily is going to be too big of a deal at this point. Given the fact that Roaring Moon hasn't come out, I think that my initial thought is that it's a booster set. And it's trying to preserve the booster, because I have a lot of, in theory, deterrence to booster right now. I'm obviously not going to go Great Tusk. I'm just going to continue to leverage my HP on my Jirachi here to the best of my abilities. I got to use it for something, right? At this point. Psyshock, okay. That makes sense. I think now I want to go for... I can go for the Cosmic Power now. Because if you go Roaring Moon, then I can pick off a bunch of damage. I want to bait the Roaring Moon is what I want to do. Which I think is better served by Calm Mind, actually. So like Roaring Moon, yeah, because Roaring Moon will feel more safe to come in. So I'll Calm Mind here. I expect the Volt Switch to come out. This will preserve a little bit more HP on this thing. And we see Volt Switch come out, so we'll take 40 HP. Not too bad. But if Rotom comes in, at a certain point I have to consider giving up my Ida, or just going to break through that Rotom. Ogerpon comes out. This is also the problem with this idea, is that Ogerpon comes in for free on this set so often. And now I don't have the free switch. I don't have the defense on this right now to do this. And I don't have the opportunity to get the Tail Glow up here. I'm not doing a lot of damage either. He's always Ivy Cudgeling here. I should have found an opportunity to get this Terad, because this would have made this much easier. I think I have to... I'll go into Swalot. I don't like this, but we are running out of tools here a little bit. And we're putting our Jirachi in places we don't need to be. So I'll go this. This is going to lose a lot of HP here. And it might require me to sack this off, which is not obviously great. But I have to find an opportunity to tear it. The crit's okay. That's fine. Obviously could be better, but we'll just click Toxic, see what happens here. And now we can get our... What's it called? Let's get going with our... These switches. Okay. So preventing Custap Berry here. Yeah, and he goes Iron Crown. Okay. I still somehow preserve this, which is not, I guess, what I'm intending to happen. I guess I'll just knock. I think I have to sack this Pokemon now. I've not really given myself another option, unfortunately. I wish I had, but I think that's kind of the price I've paid for the way that I played right now. Let's go into Manaphy. I don't like this one too much either, but I'm not getting any value out of this Pokemon right now. And I have to start getting value out of it. I'm going to Tail Glow, assuming... I have to make a play to get back into this game, so I'm going to go Tail Glow here, assuming a Volt Switch comes out into Ogerpon. Because that seems to be the most obvious play, right? Yeah, perfect, okay. We chew that, and we'll live the subsequent hit here from Ogerpon with the Rindo Berry. We have to do something to get into this game, right? I guess you have like options to go elsewhere here, but I feel like Ogerpon, yeah, you just have to go Ogerpon here. So, okay, so this is good for me. This is a kill. I get this Pokemon at least. If it's, if it's Power Whip, I guess there's not much I can do about that at this point, but I have to go for something. I think Hornleech makes the most sense in this battle. And any other attack I live, and then I kill back with Energy Ball. He could, in theory, scout for this. He might as well. But, he could see me just, like, trying to set up. Oh, and he Encores me. Okay, so plays around the Rindo Berry. That's good. I kind of feared that this would be something that would happen in the battle, but... alas, that's where we are. He's just kind of had everything for the counterplay at this point. I still haven't gotten this fucking Terran, man. Just, like, honestly, just not playing well in any sense of the matter right now. The Enamorus can still Mickey this through. We can still lock in and get this. I think I have to get rid of this, though. I'll just attack. Oh, duh. I thought it would make me just do the thing. I'm just going to Ivy Cudgel. Okay, that's fine. We'll just allow this to happen. I mean, it's not great, right? But special attack won't go any higher, and we'll just sack this off. And now we'll go Enam. And I think Enam, it's time to agility. Put some pressure on Jirachi's team. I think this team, at the end of the day, just... The Jirachi angle was... Like, these lures were super potent in the early game. But there's just never a good opportunity to get them in. And Jirachi played around them super well. So, we still have a few tricks up our sleeve that Jirachi has to play around. And the Comfy being chipped is still important for them. That still matters here at the end of the day. The problem is that Rotom has to be one of the casualties to go down at some point here. All right, Enam time. This should have happened so much earlier to get this Terra off. This Pokemon was so much more problematic than it needed to be. Terra. So there's a few things. I can agility to take advantage of my boost here. I expect, so what is this? Encore ID Cudgel knockoff U-turn is kind of the most likely, I think, set that you have. You probably just knock off. I'm gonna agility here. I have to play for a win, right? Like I have to play for him U-turning on this, on a weakness policy. And at least if he agilities, and it kind of works out in the wash anyway with the damage I would get on this. He's just gonna IV Cudgel, okay. My thing is very, very defensive here, so I should take this very well. Well, very well is I guess a subjective adjective, I guess. A subjective way to look at things. Let's just get some damage with Moonblast here. He's not gonna fall for any of the baits, unfortunately. Oh, Encore into Moonblast is fine. This is in theory fine, right? Like I'll just Moonblast again. You can go Iron Crown, but I think I'm okay with that. This thing is chipped now, which is nice. So I think, I mean, the Encore's there to protect against Calm Mind. But the problem now is he can U-turn on this to get a bunch of damage, go into Iron Crown. So he's just gonna switch Raw into Iron Crown. Any drops? No drops, okay. Check status, 2 turns left. We're not gonna get him with this set. I think I have to switch here. I'm gonna go into Jirachi. I think for my ability to get back into this game has to revolve around getting another opportunity to attack into the Ogerpon. He just goes for the Tachyon Cutter. Plays it safe here. I can just Drain Punch this Ogerpon. This is not going to do a lot, but this gets me a little bit of chip back. This could pull me out of range after the Volt Switch, which is nice, right? And it helps me get a little bit of damage off on that Pokemon. There we go. A little bit of chip. And the Volt Switch comes out. Perfect. Okay. This is now in range of IV Cudgel, so I think he's going to have to go for it here. Which is not great. Oh, I'm not even calcing the Terra. I think this is over. Unfortunately, I think this one. I mean, this is unfortunately the game plan I think we had to go for, was using a bunch of these kind of strats to kind of, I don't want to say Mickey our way through this game, but certainly certainly had to get creative with this one, right? And it just unfortunately didn't work out. One to look back on for sure, because I think I definitely could have played that one a little bit better, and I think I could have found better opportunities to Terramaya and Amorous, but alas, it is what it is. One last rival, and here we'll have one more battle, of course. After the fact, we'll play against Liv for the final week of the tournament, for me at least, but good game to Jirachi, of course. I think he played this one very well. Didn't give me an opportunity to try to lure him into any of the specifics that we had going on in this battle. Some of them worked well in mocks. I guess most of them found their footing, but I think he had, in essence, what we were concerned for a good amount. He had a lot we were potentially concerned with in this battle, which is a lot of good preparation for what we had going on. So, is what it is. I'm going for, I mean, he's got to play around it, I think, a little bit here, right? I mean, you can't U-turn, right? Yeah, you just attack here. Yeah, there's no way you would do anything besides attack, right? Like, that would be super irresponsible otherwise. And unfortunately, yeah, we'll just go for another attack here. But I think this is just going to kill the Great Tusk. I mean, I'm guessing I'm gonna try to go for the Rapid Spin to get the speed boost, but this is, I mean, this is a range, I guess, and technically, like if you think about it, but I think he also is adamant given the calcs. So unfortunate game. Good game to Jirachi. He played this one well. He had a really good matchup, and I think one of the things when you have these good matchups is kind of control the scenario around the games. I think he did that well here. So Rapid Spin, see if we can get ourselves out with something here. I mean, he could switch. I don't know why he would switch. He knows my set. Well, he knows that I'm booster attack. Though he might play around. I mean, he could. I don't know why. Yeah, this should just kill here. Yeah, it does just kill. All right. Good game to Jirachi. A 6-0. I think a lot of that comes down, unfortunately, to the team I brought was really poor into the team that he brought. And I think a lot of that is just some decisions to think about after the fact. So good game to Jirachi. We'll see everyone next time. And as always, have a wonderful day.